All right, on this channel, we've talked a lot about making templates, but I haven't talked about how to recall those templates. And I've got a pretty clever way to do it. A few of you in the comments has asked about this specific thing, and it's a pretty niche thing that I also discovered on some random video. I've only seen one person ever do this, but it's such a great way to recall your templates. Here's what I'm talking about. In Pro Tools, when I create a new track, just Shift Command N. This is typically what you see, and I can hold down Command and I can press down to change the aux input or over stereo to mono. But if I keep going down, you'll see that I have templates. I call them my templates, and then I have a broadcast one. I have one for when I do some mastering work. I have some for my mixing and my recording and my production. So let's take a look at each one of these. So let's recall my broadcast. And I just press create. And there's my broadcast template. All my routing is done. All my color coding is done. All of my plugins that I typically use, especially for something like this, this is the template that I'm going to use, is already there. Everything's already titled the way I like it. It looks the way I like it. The plugins are bypassed so that I can get my trim gain. Just like my workflow is built into this template, and I have it saved, and it's that easy to recall. Let's get rid of that. Let's take a look at like my mastering template. And there we go. And this is where I put my mix, got my VU meter on there. This is my mastering chain that I'd have, and then a print bus to print it out. And all of my routing is already there. So I can just drop and start working. I don't have to route my buses. I don't have to do anything. I'm just ready to work. Makes life really easy. Now let's take a look at, I've started to do this for different workflows, like when I'm starting to produce a song. So I've got a production one in here. Now, this is just bringing up stuff that I typically use. So I've got battery already loaded up here. So I'm ready to drop samples. I've got Superior Drummer loaded up here. And all that routing's already going to my drums all bus. I've got my Arturia Analog Labs set up here. I've got an audio track that I can just start recording or dropping things onto. I've got a couple effects sends already sent here, so that when I want to send to like create a reverb or something, I can just go to my sends and type in effects 1, and it's easy as that, and I'm ready to go. And the routing's already done, and I don't have to worry about that. I've also got a master fader already here in my click track, so I'm just ready to start producing and moving things around. And it's really easy to just like expand this. And then when it's time to cut vocals on this track or something, I can hide all my production, and then I can just do my tracking template. Now, I've made a video on this template before. This is like a 2-track if somebody's like bringing in a already made song or something, or maybe my production's like out of control and I can't get my monitoring right, so I'll bounce it down to a stereo 2-track, and then I can drop it here, and then I've got my recording track ready to go. All I do is just put this in record, I record, and then I can drop it down to my lead vocal tracks, and then I've got BGV tracks that are already panned ready for me to drop down, and all that's already routing to my lead vox and my BGVs. I can have like a low latency chain already built in here ready to go to start getting my vocals just to sound radio ready as fast as I can. And then I've got a couple, like a hall, a slap, in a room, and all that is just at a click of a button. It's great. I love it. Let's take a look at how to build that. So let's say we made a template. I'm gonna go ahead and, so let's say I've made a template. I've got my workflow dialed in, and I'm ready to make this recallable. I know how I typically do things, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make all of these, and I'm going to make sure all of my outputs are labeled. So I know that all of this is coming to lead vox. I know that my IO is labeled. If you need to know how to do that, you just right click on it and press rename, title it whatever. My effects are already labeled, and we've got all the tracks ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of the tracks I want in my template. I'm going to right click on them and go to move to new folder. Now, you can have a basic folder or a routing folder. I just want a basic folder for this. I'm not trying to route anything through it. I'm just trying to save things to it. So we're just going to call this test template. And then I'm going to press create. And all of that stuff is now in this folder. So I can close the folder. I'm going to right click on the folder. I'm going to say save as track preset. It's going to pull up this menu here. Now in the category, I can save it in my category that already exists. So let's say I put it in my streaming category. I can name it whatever I want here. And then I want to include all member tracks. This is important. Make sure you include all member tracks. I don't really, in my scenario, I'm not trying to bring any audio with it or any MIDI or anything else like that, so I don't need this. And then I'm going to press OK. And now when I go to create a new track, I can go all the way down to, we put it in the streaming, go down to the streaming, and then here's my test template, and it's all going to be there. Right there. Boom. It's that easy. It makes life so easy. And it's same with stuff like, let's say I want to save this hall reverb, this single track. So then if I'm making a new track, I just want to recall like a special effect. Let's get more specific. Well, I like to utilize this when I'm doing delay throws. How I like to do vocal throws, I actually cut the audio from the vocal or copy it and I put it onto a new audio track, and then I mangle it and do whatever I want. And sometimes I stumble across some magic by accident because I don't know what I'm doing, and then I want to save that. And for some other session, I'm like, oh yeah, I had this like really weird like quarter note delay I made this one time. How do I pull that up? So I'll just go here and I'll go to recall track preset, and this, I have them saved in FX strips, and oh, here's a quarter ping, here's like a single quarter, here's a far away, whatever that means. I just name these whatever they make me feel in the moment, and then I can just like pull that up right now. So here's a quarter ping. And it's already got my plugins. It's going here, and that's a simple one. But I can also do it to where I can create a new track and go to that FX strips quarter note ping, and I can create the track just like that, and it creates it there. It's already going to be routing to the right place in my current template and everything else like that. So yeah, that's how you make them show up in your create new track. And how you used to have to do it is I used to just create a session that was my template session, and then I'd go to file and import session data, and I'd have to grab all of these. But now I don't have to do that. Now it's built in, it's super fast, it's super easy. Try it out. I'm a big fan of templates, mostly for getting away from routing. I always want my routing labeled. I want my color coding, and this way it just does all that work for me, and it allows me to just stick in my creative mindset and just move fast. So try that out. Let me know what you think. We'll talk soon.